Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. Just getting straight into it today, mainly because I've thoroughly enjoyed testing these boots. I've had these now probably, again, a little bit longer than I've had to test some other boots in the past. And I definitely think I've got the lay of the land of these. So these are the Belleville Boots Minimalist boot. Found a couple of things out that I like a lot about these, and although I don't think these boots are for everybody, if you're into minimalist footwear, then these are 100% the boots that you need to check out. If you're not into minimalist footwear, if you've struggled with arch support, if you generally have poor foot health, they're probably not going to be for you unless you're there to invest a lot of time in strengthening your feet. For you minimalist guys out there, these are great. I've thoroughly enjoyed testing these. Now let's get into some of the details with these. So as far as construction are concerned, Belleville really set a bar as far as, you know, their reputation is concerned. Now I will say, before I started, so I'd heard of Belleville, I'd heard of their reputation, I'd heard of the boots that they made, but a few months back we looked at the AMRAP vaporized boots, I think they're called. I put the content out there and it was really nice to see how there was a lot of US ex-servicemen and women that had commented how they were the boots that they were given to them when they first enlisted, and they've been through some pretty ropey things with these boots in the past. So it's actually been really nice learning a little bit more. I know I'd probably go on to this bit at the end, but I think it's nice to say this at this kind of forethought, but just learning a little bit more around the history of these, and especially a lot of your history with Belleville boots. It's certainly added a little bit more to the credentials, especially for me, on you know, how their outlook on making boots that are designed specifically for people that need to have good footwear. So boots are constructed, so hopefully you'll be able to see through the bottom section here and around through the lacing and through the top. This is all made from 100% genuine cattle hides. Through the back here, through the heel, now this is a standard 8-inch military boot. There are a few standards that this has reached as far as I believe it's the US military is concerned. I'll put those here. But yes, it's a fairly standard height of an 8-inch boot. But through the rear panel here, which goes through your ankles and then further up into the calf, this is all made from a very tough nylon. I think some of the nylon on the other ones, they did say it was Cordura. They don't say what type of nylon that it is on here. However, yeah, it is tough. Now I'm kind of free-forming with this, but I will mention that these do take a little bit more wearing in than some other boots that I have tested in the past. I think one of the main reasons for that is that these are an unlined boot. There's, on the inside here, you've literally just got the boot. There's no lining in them whatsoever. So what you will find is that, especially here around this heel compartment, I don't know what you call it, I know this is a toe box, should we call this a heel box for now? It does ride a little higher than other boots that I've tested. I think mainly that's because it's such a minimal boot that they want to give you as much ankle support as they possibly can do. For me, so my ankle bone rides right just on this line. So when I first put them on, I definitely found that rubbed, and it was just perfect. I was like, oh, you bugger! It was right just on my ankle bone. Now, having worn these around the house, I've done some long walks in these. There's a few walks that I regularly do. One's a 5 mile, one's an 8 mile. Having done those and worn this in, this whole area through the heel now is a lot more supple. Yeah, supple, not supple, supple. Anyway, So that wearing on my on my ankle bone is completely gone. Also, nearly dropped in there for a second, because this just sits a little bit higher. The minimal style of these reminds me of some minimal shoes like your Merrell, what are they called? The Merrell Vapor. I can't think, Vapor gloves. Anyway, but they sit a little bit lower. So again, you'll just find on the back, kind of the bottom of your Achilles, you'll just feel a little kind of wearing on there. But again, after a few walks in these, found that I had no issues as well. Also, sock choice is very important with these as well, again because they're not lined. Recently I've been wearing the Danish Endurance socks, very nice merino wool, but they're also nice and high as well, so you get as much kind of protection when you're in these as possible. I probably whittled on way too much about that, but they just take a little bit longer to wear in because of the geometry and the makeup of these, because they're more of a minimalist boot to give you as much support as possible. Moving through the front, actually let's start on the laces. So the laces on here, you have 4 of your normal eyelets, and then you have 4 fast pulls. Now I have just, while I was messing around with it, one of these fast pulls has just come out. Let me just put that in there for a second, because I will say that the combination of the laces that they have chosen with these and the fast pulls on here, when you're wanting to put these on, they're not the type of ones that you have to mess around with for ages. You just give it a good pull and you're kind of pretty much halfway there already. A couple of little tugs through the section there, and then another pull, and then you'll have these cinched and ready to go and do whatever it is that you need to do. I have tried these with a couple of differents. Generally I tried to cut them as tight as possibly I can do, and they fit really nice. When I first started testing them out, because of the wear that I was getting through here, I did loosen them a bit and realised that you can actually wear these reasonably loose as well, and they're still very comfortable. The tongue in here, now these aren't, they're not waterproof, so yeah, they're not waterproof. In fact, here on the side you'll see that there are 2 of these little grommets here which will let vapor in and out, but it will also let water in and out as well. But I will say that they dry exceptionally quickly. Like I do with a lot of boots, especially because he was wearing a little bit more, I filled them full of water, put some nice socks on, emptied them out, and then spent the day at home with them until they dried. It's an old trick that, you know, many of us do, but they dried out really quickly, and I mean, that was nice. But yeah, so the tongue in here, so the tongue is made from this same nylon material. I'm going to bring this up so that you can hear how tough this nylon material is. It's crazy. So yeah, it's really tough, but the tongue itself goes all the way up to the top of these eyelets. Now while I'm in here, I just noticed that I haven't mentioned the size. These are a UK size 9, they're a Euro size 43 and a US size 10. I'm a size 9 here in the UK, which is a Euro size 43 and a US size 10, and they fit perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. I couldn't have asked for a better fit with these. If you're new to minimalist style footwear, one of the things that you need to get used to is the drop. So on these are a 0 drop boot, which means that where your heel is and where your toes are, there is no drop between them completely at all. A lot of other boots, it kind of ranges from maybe say 6 to sometimes 13 millimeters, which means that your heel is ever so slightly than your front. Now having a 0 drop is the most natural gait, the most natural kind of stance for your foot, because you know, our feet aren't really designed to be in boots like this. But again, it's just something that you need to get used to, because it just wears maybe a little bit more on your calves. If you're used to being barefoot, if you're used to wearing, I don't know, like flip-flops, if you wear flip-flops all year round, then you're used to a barefoot style kind of gait. For longer walks, heel strike on this is a big no-no, so there is only a 2mm midsole for this. It's a polyurethane midsole. with very little clearance, so you can feel an awful lot underneath your foot when you're walking with these. The sole on these is a VIBRAM Tarsus sole, which is meant to specifically mimic the dimensions of your foot, to sweep through the arch here, and again it gives you extra little grips around where your toes are. The toe box on this is a reasonably wide toe box, which is great. I've talked about toe boxes on previous shoes. We looked at the, what did we look at? We looked at the Go Ruck boots a few weeks back. They had a very nice and wide toe box, which these do. However, their toe box was reasonably shallow, so you could open your toes, but you couldn't really kind of flex them up and down. This one, oh, it's chef's kiss. You can. I mean, I have one of them on this foot and have a croc on that foot at the moment, but you can, yeah, being able to splay your toes open when you're walking, especially when you're walking across rocks and that sort of stuff. Being able to get your toe on there and to allow them to spread, to get purchase, to be able to lift up is great. But also being able to take a knee on these, because you can, I mean, they are super, I was going to say flimsy. Flimsy is the wrong word. They are super malleable, bendy. But yes, so the grip on these is far superior. Although it's a lot shallower, it's not as kind of gnarly, it's not as toothy as some other grips that I've tried on other boots. But what you will find is, with a minimal boot, that you appreciate the grip on here more, because your foot conforms to whatever it is that you're walking on. And that's what's really kind of been the big thing that I've enjoyed testing these out. I get a little bit hippie when I talk about feeling the connection with the ground beneath you and all of that kind of stuff, but with these you really do get that. And I think if you're thinking of starting to get into minimalist boots, these are an exceptionally good boot to start off with. Apart from this, just this little area around here, which I think for some, if you pick these up, and it might necessarily just be the geometry of my ankle that it just rubs on there, but don't let that put you off. If you find that this rubs just for a bit, just you know, I don't know, I was going to say man up, but I can't think of a better way to say it. Just man up. Keep at them for a couple of weeks. Try different types of socks. Do not wear these with thin socks. Your thin cotton socks that you get from your kids for Christmas, best dad in the world kind of socks, they're not going to be comfortable to start off with. Now, wearing a thicker merino sock with these to start off with is great. Once they've been worn in, then you'll find that you can then change to some of those other socks. So now I've had these now, so obviously it's pretty cold now. I've just got my Danish Endurance merino sock on, and I'll leave a link for them below just in case you want to get some. Boots fine, foot's not cold, it's about -4 at this moment in time. Having had these now, I've had them for about 2 months. 2 months ago it definitely was warmer than it is now. Once I'd got these worn in, just wearing those thin cotton socks again was great. Certainly had no issues with them whatsoever. Oh, the midsole, sorry, the insole, I don't think it's a removable one, but I think, no, I don't think it is actually. But I think for a boot like this, generally, it's a type of minimalist boot that you're not going to be changing much as far as the insole is concerned. If you need orthotics or those kind of special inserts, these then I think, well, you know, you've already got some issues with your feet, and these aren't going to be the type of boot that are going to be good for you. You definitely need a boot that's going to give you a lot more arch support. The arch support in these is just deal with it. That's how your foot's designed. kind of arch support. There's very little support as far as that's concerned. But again, getting back to minimalist footwear, that is what minimalist footwear is designed to do. It's designed to replicate the natural movement of your foot, of your toes, of the arch of your foot, but give you the protection that an outer layer for a modern boot is designed to do. I think that just summed it up perfectly. I think that did just sum it up perfectly there. So yes, now I want to give a massive shout out to Belleville for sending me these. Genuinely, these are the nicest boots that I've tested out on the channel so far. Again, I will say I don't think these are for everybody. If you are the type that does struggle with your feet, then there are definitely other Belleville boots. In fact, I'll leave a link here to the AMRAPs that I tested out a few months back. Which will probably be more suited for you. However, if you have good foot health and you're after some minimalist boots, these generally are the best boots that I've tested out so far. I thoroughly enjoy testing these. Yeah, I don't want to gush a bit too much about these because that'll just sound a bit kind of whiny, but yes, very, very nice boots. So thank you again to the Belleville team for sending me these. You guys rock. I'll leave all of their links below so that you can see more from them and the other boots that they do. Yeah, and some of my social media feeds, they'll be down bottom here on Moorlander EDC, and also my sister channel, Moorlander Tactical. But for now, as always, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC. Welcome to Randy's Winter Wonderland. Anybody can come and sit on my lap and tell me what for Christmas. We'll see what comes up. Hey! Boom, boom. Moving on swiftly. Hi. Hi. Hello.